Good morning, everybody. It's very early. The sun is just coming up right now. I felt like doing. I need to do like. Oh, my brain's still trying to start working. This is the first sort of conversation I'm having out loud. So, like the last one, I really liked my last one, but oh my words, I was like watching it, and there's so many words that I just stumble over. So I'm gonna try to take this a little slower, so I'm not, mispronouncing things and stuff. So I'm thinking about the Constitution today. I'm trying to write this Constitution and co-produce it with a couple of the guys. I'm trying to get the ball rolling, and I've worked out with a few of them that like I can write the basic structure of its questions and what we need to look at in this Constitution, and then build from there with each other. So I have to sort of work out a way of being sort of suggestive of what we write, just because like through the health system I learned quite a lot there. I gained quite a lot of knowledge and of just how things are heard through the system and what they listen to. And when you're a bunch of people that have gone through lived experience and are trying to deal with lived experience, there is different types of language that you use to the professional side of language. And luckily I have some advisors that are volunteering their time for us to help really design our co-produced Constitution. So the Constitution is simply what we represent and why we are doing what we want to do. And just if we're to be an organisation, then who are we helping? How is it helping them? And things like that. So I have these questions up on the board in the workshop, and allowing the members to think about the questions and where we can go from here. Basically, there are so many levels to it, and it's to keep grounded in step 1 rather than looking at step 10 and things like that is, where I sort of have to keep in tune with, I suppose. So like I've got brainstorms. I don't know if you're going to see this with the light reflecting that, but like this, I had a huge talk with Bonnie. She surprised me the other day and rocked up for a day. I've just come back from Fitzroy Crossing after she's been working her bum off, which I'm very proud of. And me and Clinton and Bonnie got into a very strong conversation of this idea of Constitution. And what was good for me personally is there is so much knowledge I need to learn and need to gain from everybody. And what's wonderful is they're willing to guide me, which is where I felt this was going. I was saying, just as simple as saying that I want Bonnie to be my boss. That's in my head, in my language. I know what that means, but as it represents something, it's not the right word. And the right word is leader. Like she should be our leader in our future directions. And the reason is because she is so in tune with not only the politics, but Dreamtime and law and culture. And those things, I believe, the independence, which is basically a word for someone that isn't Aboriginal, though I'm native to this country, and as Bonnie puts it, I am a bloodline of this country. I was born here, so I am Australian as much as Bonnie is Australian. And I really love that about Bonnie, and this is why I have so much faith in her, is because she sees the purity of bloodline, the impurity of bloodline, but she sees equality to anybody that is here. Like, there is no colour skin, there's no boundaries when it comes to people wanting the best for people, and that is why I have so much faith in this group and these members, is because we don't look at each other in our separated communities or laws or culture. We all relate to each other because, you know, we're human, trying to do the best for not only ourselves but for the communities and Broome and the Kimberleys and Australia and the world. Our intentions and motivation is to better ourselves and help everyone that touches us. And I think that's my motivation to why I do this sort of thing. So if I wanted to blog, or not blog, I wanted to video, what I've sort of started to figure out is I have all these thoughts in my head and I can write them down and I get them down, but I go into an impurity, I suppose is the word, of in my writing. I start to criticise myself and I start to think too hard. Where if I just speak out loud and listen to my own voice, I can diary it in a way. So, you know, and that's why I think I like just sharing out loud, because I believe I'm speaking to myself, but also I get to record it so I can then break it down later on and see what was right and what was wrong, or was like too far in something and things like that. So, what do we want? I think I just sort of said it. What we want from this constitution is to explain the abilities and awareness that we've all gained, and that recovery can actually turn to recovered. We all go on, like me even, in my talking with people in the markets and that, I say I'm in recovery for my 12th year. Well, what if I said I'm recovered? What if I say I've recovered from my recovery? Like, that's where I'm trying to be and feel like I actually am. In most of my experiences, I'm not just in recovery, I've recovered. And to celebrate in my soul that realization, I wouldn't call it an epiphany, but an enlightenment that the language is evolving and in myself as well, which I really appreciate. And it comes from these discussions that I have with like Bonnie and Lillian and Raphael and all the members. And like we have like, so going back to that word quickly, like of independence, and that there are regulations when it comes to, you know, the organisation and what we need for this organisation to work, and for any Aboriginal corporations to have faith in us. And so in all of our members, we have 9 Aboriginal members that are from all around. A collection of them are Yaru, which is the traditional landowners of Broome or the surrounding areas, and then there's a few that are like from other communities a bit down the road, even a little bit further. they're all communities from up the north. I don't think, like, if I had a Noongar from down south up here, again, like Bonnie says, it's bloodline. It's not boundaries, which are part of culture and law as well. That there are boundaries to each community, and that's why there are these different titles and different names. Like I said, I'm only repeating what I'm learning through language, communication. So even through that conversation, I'm changing in my head what I understood and what I heard. So I'm not 100%, and that's something I don't want to disrespect. So I've got to make sure that I understand. Now, like I said, there were so many levels to this idea of constitution. It went as far with Bonnie as, this is a book with paintings from Ainsley Roberts. It's called Echoes of Dreamtime, and these show like images of a lot of the Dreamtime culture and lore. These are your mythologies of before religion. So these, this is the beginnings basically of culture and understanding that. And like I said, I will get Bonnie to and hopefully the rest of them to explain lots about Dreamtime and culture and law, though understand they're all very different of how they express. Bonnie is I relate to Bonnie a lot in that she can talk very leveled and very professional and in a language that everyone understands, but then sometimes the language can fly and be a bit imaginative in symbolic and in metaphor, and which is cool. And if I get it, I get it, but I can understand that someone watching or hearing this could, feel a bit, whoa, where are you going with that? I'm getting a bit lost. And so they're things that we help each other. Like I said, this talk I'm having with you now, if I had like Bonnie sitting next to me, it could be a bit more of a balance and bounce and go, well, Brent, all right, shut up about that. Go back to what you were talking about and things like that. So going back to what I was talking about, what I see with this constitution is a simple mid picture. There's a massive picture to it. There's a small picture, but my mid picture is what sort of drives me at the moment. The drive is I would love to be able to build a centre that accommodates my members and then allows us to bring all the communities in to utilise that space. And also be able to accommodate every level of recovery, every level of recovered, and also the levels of people living within their traumas. That's a bit harder in aspects. So because I do, like I said, when it comes to recovery, it's different to being in an addiction or in an emotional imbalance or in a trauma. That's where I do believe the clinical and professional side of mental health and rehabilitation of drug and alcohol are important, because they really do know how to facilitate those levels of trauma and addiction sort of thing. So I would be more with that level, more of an assistance, simple version, a drop-in centre. Having a space where we can accommodate a soup kitchen, having somewhere where they can sit and just have a coffee, to be able to utilise those spaces for using the phone or connecting to organisations that are around, and us having that ability. That would bring through what I was experiencing at the recovery centre in Broome, which is facilitated by KMHDS, which is Kimberley Mental Health Drug and Service, is that would need a professional boundary around it. So that would be within my mid goal, something I would have to look at later, obviously. But what I feel I can look at forward is an art centre, and being able to have a space that allows men and women of these communities to build workshops, to assist the youth, to have just a space that they feel is theirs, and be able to use that space for all purposes. And what I mean by it assisting our members is I have the hope in their confidence, because I already am confident with all of them, that we discover their talents and that what they can use to help other people. So for example, at the moment, I'm talking to like Bonnie, to Telly, to Kanisha, hopefully a little bit with Lillian. I would love to talk more with Glenn and Raphael, but like I said, Glenn's very busy in his own health world, and Raphael is coming out of his shell slowly each day. So pressure is not a word I can use, sort of thing. And these are to help build workshops and be able to help others. We are at a conflict with that. If we are to go independently without the organisation being built yet, we need to sustain ourselves. I need to be able to think of how to pay these guys for their time, and so workshops being having a fee behind them and things like that. So yeah, what's more important, getting these workshops straight out there, or really concentrating on the idea of building our constitution so we can have this organisation set up and then start for funding, and then with the funding then we could keep the non-profit side stay still non-profit no matter which way we go. But God, the trees are getting watered. Hope that's not too noisy. Yeah, so what was I saying? So there are two levels. There are levels where people out there can afford to come to a workshop and pay for it, or there's the community that should be offered it for nothing. You know, there are some struggling families, struggling kids. You know, if I have a kid that's virtually homeless, I don't expect him to pay $20 for a workshop. So that's where I've got to really figure out what's more important now. And for even just listening to myself, I can hear it. You know, like for me, that kid that's nearly on the streets, the workshops are better for him than a family that just think, oh, well, this is cheaper than daycare, so I'll put them in there, you know, which is a great opportunity for us if we think about that. But I don't want to go off the tangent. I don't want to rabbit hole into what's more convenient for us right now. So, like I said, I have so much to look into that I want to, like, just even with Aboriginal art, I want to find out their tradition and culture again, and reroute that, because if we are to make workshops for the kids around here, the passion that's coming from like Telly and Kanisha, who are our young members, is their passion and their heart about law and culture is still as strong, which is wonderful to see. And that shows me that they want to be that bridge to the elders, and so does Bonnie again. Once has brought this up as well, is communicating with your elders and taking on the responsibility of the stories, and who's allowed to as well. What was quickly mentioned was there's a role for each community and who has the right for these stories to share. So there's a lot I want to do, but I want to be very respectful to everybody that I'm doing. I know I'm putting my foot in the sand, in the line, in the deep water, but I feel my honesty and my intention is pure, so I shouldn't hopefully be attacked for what I'm doing. I hope I can be more enlightened if I'm doing something wrong, knowing that. So I find ignorance quite a harsh word. I prefer innocence, to be honest. When I ask a question, I'm innocent in my question. I don't be convenient with ignorance. So I might leave it at that. I'll have a listen to this and see if that's enough, because I'm at 20 minutes and I don't want to bore you. This, like I said, this is more. This one I think is just more for me to just really. I want this constitution to be perfect in how we write it and how we express it, and how do I get it into a little pamphlet that you can just read, a small little pamphlet and go, I get what you're saying. I believe in what you're saying. Yes, we want to support you. So, and I'm only in that because of the support I'm getting in this community. People really believe in what I'm doing, which is, wonderful to feel. And I have so many people that are right behind me and not trying to attack me and and there is some, don't get me wrong, there are some that are trying to attack me and trying to make me look like that I'm against other policies or boundaries that are formed by different places. And that's a shame, because my only intention is helping these communities, and like I told you before, to give them a voice and listen to them and let them be heard. So, you know what I mean? Like, they are the priority. My comfort, my dreams and aspirations that are out from this are not priority to this direction. This is a devotion to my 13 members and to the possible outcomes that these guys can deliver to the communities, to Broome, to Kimberley's, to Australia, and to the world. That's my direction, and I really hope with Bonnie and Glenn and the leaders of this community that we've built, that we all can succeed in what we're doing. Yeah. See you for now. I think that will do. I'm gonna think about this all day, and other than that, probably clean the house a little bit. So I'm at that stage now where I'm gonna say goodbye, guys. Have a good one. Have a good day and have a good week. See ya.